Hey everyone, this is PM Sports Talk, the father and son duo podcast. I'm your host Preston, alongside my father Mike. Dad, how are we doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. There is such awesome news in the world of sports. I can't wait to get into it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that Mike is right. There is a lot of good things going on in the sports world, but we cannot start this episode without thanking you guys. For 146 subscribers on YouTube, we have reached over 100. Thank you, everyone, and I mean, just such a great accomplishment for us, and we can't do it without you guys.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Hopefully, we get some more, and yeah, it's just great. Just glad to have some listeners, and hopefully, we're doing well for you in the world of sports.
Let's hope we do well today. Starting off with college football, the usual. Jordan Travis, as many of you probably saw in the game, suffered that gruesome leg injury, being tackled, got his leg twisted, and it was twisted after he got done with the tackle. Oof. But yeah, the question after this is Florida State done? Are they going to lose? They play Florida this upcoming week, then Louisville in the ACC Championship. Are they bound to lose?
When that happened, I turned the game on. They were playing North Alabama, which is just like almost like a practice for Florida State. It's one of those games where they book them just to get a win, and before they get to the end of the season here. Excuse me. And I was like, it's 13-0 North Alabama, and I'm like, wow, are they done? I mean, this is crazy. I mean, I know they're deflated because of what they just saw with their starting quarterback, and then they picked it up. Defense picked it up. The backup quarterback, who when he first came in, I'm like, ooh, I don't know about this guy. Then all of a sudden, he started throwing the ball, and I'm like, wow, this kid can really throw the ball. So I think it's going to be tough. It's 50-50 in my mind. They could beat both those teams, Florida and Louisville, or they could lose to both of them.
Yeah.
It's really tough to call. It's a toss-up because we just don't know what that quarterback's going to do when he's under fire from a real team. Yeah. So that Florida game, I can't wait to watch that. That's super interesting now.
Oh yeah, without Travis, Northern Alabama is like you said, a practice for Florida State. So interesting to see. I mean, of course they're going to play Louisville in the ACC championship game. I'm pretty sure that game's already set. So it all depends on if they play good against Florida and come away with the win.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Florida almost beat Missouri. They probably should have. And Missouri's at number 9 or number 8 in the rankings. So Florida's no slouch. But they lost their quarterback too. Didn't Mertz get hurt in this game?
I'm pretty sure.
So but they're an SEC team. They have players. So that's a tough game. Even if Florida State had Travis, that was going to be a tough game. So everyone's up in the air for Florida State. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, it sucks for them because they were used to be a mainstay in the top of college football, and they haven't been in quite some time. And they had that great year this year with Travis's final year as a quarterback for Florida State. Looked like they were going to compete for a national championship. I didn't think they were going to win it, but they could definitely compete for it. And it's just so up in the air now. I don't know what's going to happen, but it makes this weekend really interesting to find out what they're going to do. And
it comes down. This really helps the college football rankers too. This is going to be a big part of determining who's going to be in those playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the voters are going to vote. Let's say Florida State does beat both these teams with their backup quarterback, and Washington goes undefeated, and you have the Michigan-Ohio State winner go undefeated, and say Georgia goes undefeated. I guess you have to put them in, right?
I don't know. They were there originally, so I mean, you're right, probably. Based on how these rankings go, I think Florida State would stay in that case.
Yeah, they would. Now, if they lose a game, I think they're done.
Yeah, they're not going to get put in.
They have no chance unless one of these other teams gets upset. Unless Texas loses another game, and the worst case scenario for Florida State is if they say they beat lose to Florida, but then beat LSU, so they'd be the ACC champ. Louisville, I mean, yeah, and they'd be 12-1, I think. Yeah. And then Alabama beats Georgia, so then their one loss goes against Alabama's one loss, and Georgia's one loss, and Oregon's one loss. Say they beat Washington, all those one-loss teams. If that happens, they're going to be out because they're not going to be thought of as highly as those other teams.
Now, talking from a standpoint of not knowing how this college football rankings usually work, I mean, I do, but wouldn't it would be easy to say if in that case scenario Alabama gets put in because the one team they lost to is Texas, and Florida State would lose to Florida, who was unranked?
Right. I mean, yeah, if Alabama beats Georgia, they're in no matter what happens, but because they're going to be the SEC champ, and the SEC champ's going to be in. So, so I guess it would be down to it'd be between Georgia, Texas, and if Oregon happened to beat Washington, one of those last spots would be between those teams, and Florida State's going to be. If there's a bunch of, let me just put it this way: if there's a bunch of one-loss teams fighting for a spot, and Florida State's one of them, they're not getting in.
No,
they have to go undefeated.
Yeah, they have to go undefeated to make it in.
Yeah,
so, man, and that Pac-12 championship game, I mean, pretty much it's easy to say it's going to be Washington and Oregon, correct? I mean,
there's only one tough. There's rivalry games this weekend: Washington State against Washington.
Listen,
Washington's going to beat them.
Can Oregon State do the unthinkable again like they did last year?
They can. I don't think they will because this game's in Oregon.
Last year it was in Oregon State.
But they certainly could. I mean, they could have easily won last week against Washington.
Ukulele played well.
Yeah.
He's starting to turn it up a little bit. I mean, transferring was probably the best decision for his career.
They're a tough team.
At Clemson, so I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
Yeah, that game would be close, at least at the beginning. I could see Oregon maybe pulling away at the end. Or, who knows? It goes right down to the end. Those rivalry games are so hard. Plus, this is the last time Oregon State's going to play Oregon for quite some time, probably, because it's the end of the Pac-12. Mm-hmm. And Oregon's going to the Big Ten. So who knows when those teams are going to play. There's some extra incentive to do well, to go out on a bang and say, hey, let's take care of these guys. Let's ruin their season.
I mean, yeah, Oregon State could have that mindset like, hey, what do we have to lose? Let's go play football and upset Oregon and knock out their chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to be loosey-goosey, whereas Oregon might be a little tight, Who knows?
Because Oregon, they have to have this game.
They have to win. If they lose, then they're done.
Because that will be their second loss of the season.
Yeah, they're out if they lose. They have to win. So there's a lot more pressure on Oregon. Oregon State's just playing for pride and
bragging rights.
So
those are some of the games of this college football weekend. But, of course, we left one out.
Which one is that?
Michigan and Ohio State.
The monster of them all.
Oh, yeah. Big rivalry
big
weekend.
Rivalry, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this before you say more. This is the biggest game of the weekend, college or pro.
This is the biggest This is the biggest game of the season, probably.
Yeah.
Whoever loses is out.
But I'm just saying for this weekend, NFL games, now it's this game. It's Ohio State, Michigan is the game of the weekend.
Yes. Breaking down some stuff from this, I mean, this rivalry goes back to back far. Like, you think, oh, man, remember this moment. What are some of your favorite moments? Let's have a little discussion here. Some of your favorite moments from this rivalry. So over the games over the past.
Yeah, my favorite one is one of my favorite ones was when Charles Woodson they beat Ohio State to go to the. I forget. I don't know if they were going to a national championship game or not. It was so different then because it wasn't set up with a playoff like it is now. But
yeah.
The big game was the Ohio State game, and they beat them. Another one for me was the Desmond Howard game.
Oh yeah,
he posed for the Heisman after they beat Ohio State.
That was pretty cool. I mean,
that was cool.
I mean, I can't even argue with that. That's one of the biggest moments in the rivalry.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, there's a whole bunch. When I was growing up as a kid, it was just huge rivalry. And when I was your age, I think Michigan had the better of the rivalry. They won quite a few games. Ohio State couldn't beat Michigan, even though Ohio State was quite often ranked higher than Michigan. but Michigan would come in with 2 losses and somehow beat Ohio State. But then Ohio State went on this run where they just won every game, the last few years up until a couple years ago. So,
yeah, back-to-back wins for Michigan.
Yeah, and there's extra incentive this year because everybody's like, well, did Michigan beat Ohio State because they were stealing signs? That's what Ohio State's going to say.
Yeah.
And Michigan's going to be like, you know what? We're going to prove to you that we are that good. So they have the incentive to prove everybody wrong. So it's setting up to be just a classic.
Well, as you went over with your moments as a Michigan fan, let's go over my moments as an Ohio State fan. I have 2. No, obviously you've been on this planet longer than me, so you've lived through more of these games. But as more of me watching some of the current games, 2 come to mind. 1, JT Barrett gets hurt. Dwayne Haskins comes in and saves the streak.
Yeah, I remember that one, yeah.
Dwayne Haskins debuted, and then the next season he was phenomenal.
Right, yeah.
Then the second one, my personal favorite from this rivalry, Curtis Samuel's game winner in overtime.
Yes. I don't remember a lot about that one, but I remember him scoring, yeah. Who was the quarterback that year for Ohio State? Do you remember?
Man, was it Barrett or was it someone else?
Was it Barrett or was it, what's his name?
Braxton Miller.
Braxton Miller.
Oh, I love Miller. He's one of my favorite Ohio State players, man. Miller was electric. I mean, when's the last time you saw a player playing quarterback and receiver in college?
Yeah, he was phenomenal as a college player. It's too bad he got hurt.
Yeah.
Had all his injuries, his knees got all screwed up. But yeah, Ohio State was it was clearly the better team there. Those Ohio State teams were definitely better than Michigan teams. They're more talented, and it showed.
Man, the one thing that scares me going into this game, McCarthy has experience. McCord does not. This is McCord's first year as the Ohio State starter. He doesn't quite know the atmosphere. I mean, obviously he probably knows the importance of the game, but he's never played in it,
Yeah, it's going to be big game. Of course, McCarthy last year was his first year starting in it.
That's true.
And he played great.
He played phenomenal.
He's better. I mean, I know you don't like J.J. McCarthy, but he's better than Kyle McCord.
No doubt.
So I'm just...
No doubt.
But he hasn't been playing good the last couple games, so...
I mean, he made some bad reads in that Maryland game.
So this is another one of those games where you're like, geez. A few weeks ago, I was like very confident that Michigan was going to beat Ohio State again. Very confident. And now I'm not. I'm not so sure. I think it's a 50-50 game now. Michigan had some key injuries last week against Maryland. I don't know the status. They lost some offensive linemen, and as you know, that's probably the best part of their team is their offensive line. So, who knows? This game probably won't go the way you think it will. Something weird will happen, crazy will happen, and seems like that always happens.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing for Michigan, I think their defense is going to have to find a way somehow to shut down Marvin Harrison Jr. But then, if you look at shutting him down, you got another solid receiver in Emeka Egbuka. Obviously, he's no Marvin Harrison Jr., but he's solid. He's solid. The Ohio State receiving core is nice, man. You got
they're good.
And you got Julian Fleming at the wide receiver 3.
And their tight end's very good.
Oh, yeah, Cade Stover.
So, yeah, Ohio State has the edge in skilled guys. Michigan has the edge in line play.
Mm-hmm. All of those linemen are going to the draft, and they're going to get drafted at some point.
And they have the edge at quarterback. So, but, that's what I mean. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it sure is. Ohio State, man, the one thing that really killed us last year, at the beginning, we let up 2 big plays to Cornelius Johnson.
It was the big play last year. That's what I mean. Michigan came into that game last year, just like this year. Run, maybe throw. Run, throw. That was their game plan last year. And when they came into that game, what'd they do? They threw the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Donovan Edwards took over.
That set up the run, and he just ran wild.
Donovan Edwards. That really sealed the game for them.
So I don't know what they're going to do this year. Are they going to come out and try to throw it again, or are they going to try and just cram it down Ohio State's throat? I don't know.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to be one of those great, like you said, classic games, like always. So I want to go over one game. It's probably not important to you, but it has a lot of history. The Auburn-Alabama Iron Bowl.
Another great rivalry. I love these games.
It sucks that Auburn isn't good anymore, but like,
Yeah, the last couple years.
you never know with them though.
It's a rivalry game.
They really they played earlier against Georgia, and before Brock Bowers went stupid, they were about to beat them.
Yeah, and last week Auburn lost to New Mexico State.
Yeah,
Who Auburn was favored by 20-some points.
So-
But does that like wake them up and say, "Man, we got demolished by
that's
a
what
team"?
I'm about to say. Yeah,
So are they going to come out just?
Auburn's always had that like second thing in my heart for a team because I loved Chris Davis running that kick six back to score.
Yes.
That was one of the most. That was the best play in college football history, and if
That
you're
was
in
just
my
great.
opinion.
Yeah, that was great. That makes this rivalry so good. And then it wasn't a couple years after that. One of the years that Mac Jones was playing, I think the game went down to the final play. And yeah, it's just rivalries throw out the records.
Yep.
And it's not like this Alabama team. I know they've been playing really good lately, but they're not some super team. They can be beat. It's unlikely, but it could happen.
If Auburn can stop that run game, I think they got a shot.
There's nothing saying that Milroe can't throw up 3 interceptions in this game. Nothing saying that at all.
Milroe can't throw the ball. I don't know how he's in that Heisman watch. I know he's not going to be a Heisman finalist, but I don't even know how he's in there in the first place.
I don't know how he's even mentioned.
Yeah,
it's just
he can't throw the football. They have to use total yards as a stat for him.
It's because they want somebody from Alabama just to be mentioned. It's just so crazy. If he was on some other team, he wouldn't even be mentioned.
No, he's not a good quarterback. You see guys like Lamar be called a running back. Jaden Daniels even was called a running back. Like, I don't know how you're not saying the same thing for Jalen Milroe. I mean, Lamar and Jaden Daniels, they've proved that they can somewhat throw the ball. I haven't seen that of Jalen Milroe against good teams. You watch that LSU game, all they did, I know LSU couldn't stop it, but all they did was run the football. I mean, Milroe, and then when they had Milroe in pass plays, he's back there, and they just scrambles.
Yeah, and LSU's defense is bad this year.
If
So.
Auburn gets like a spy on that, on the pass plays, I think Milroe is going to get shut down.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible in these games. I hope it's a close game because I don't want to see another Alabama blowout. That just ruins it. But.
Yeah. And that could make a lot of changes to their playoff hopes if Auburn able to pull off the upset.
You never know. Anything's possible. So I'm not sure where the game is this year. I think it's in Auburn, isn't
It
it?
might be. I think it is, actually, because last year I think it was in Alabama.
That makes a big difference.
I think I might got to check. That makes a huge difference, like you just said.
Yeah, so, hey, it's another one of those great games.
Yes.
That's pretty much it, though.
It is in Auburn, and even though they aren't a good football team as of late, that crowd gets loud.
Yeah, I mean, especially for that game, it doesn't matter. They could have one game.
They could have no wins, and they'll still get loud for that game.
Yeah, so, hey, they're going to get pumped for that game, and anything can happen. We've seen it before. So, yeah, it's great.
There's our talk with college football rivalry weekend. Such a great weekend in sports. And now it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to transition to the NFL. And the big news from this week, the big news from today, the big news from this morning.
Very unexpected.
I'm sitting there in marketing. We're playing Family Feud before Thanksgiving, talking about Black Friday. I look at my phone. ESPN gives me a report. Matt Canada is gone. He is done as the offensive coordinator. He's done with Pittsburgh. He's out.
About time. I didn't think I'd see it ever happen.
We were just talking about this yesterday. We were having our talk, and you were like, no, I'm not even going to think about Matt Canada because he's not going to be fired till the end of the season. I agreed with you. I mean, the last time they made a move, fired a coach in the middle of the season, was 1941.
Yeah, I just didn't think it was going to happen. I figured they would move on from him at the end of the year, but
yeah.
I did not think that it happened mid-season like this, and it had to happen.
This is a move that had to happen. Tomlin was losing the locker room, and this is a step in the right direction. And if he wants any chance of getting that locker room back on the same page, this is the move that had to be made.
He had to do it. Now we're going to find out Was it Canada? I mean, I don't expect things to change a ton, but I think there should be some enthusiasm on the team. Hopefully, just a different perspective from play calling, just switching things up a bit. Try to get this offense going. See if Kenny Pickett is an NFL quarterback, or is he just not? Is he just a backup? What is he? Let's see. Let's see what happens. It had to be done. You couldn't keep going down the same road over and over again, because you may as well just because you're in the playoffs as of right now. And if you want to stay there, you had to make a change because you weren't going to stay there if you went with Matt Canada. It just was not working.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the definition of insanity to keep doing the same thing over and over again and thinking of a different result. Was not going to happen. It's a breath of fresh air to this team. Let's see what they do with it.
And I think, sorry to interrupt. I think Tomlin is made the right move after this, putting running back coach, I forget his name, but they put our running backs coach there as the offensive coordinator.
Faulkner.
What?
Faulkner.
Oh, Faulkner.
Is his last.
Okay.
Faulkner and then
Faulkner and then Sullivan's calling the plays, right?
Sullivan, the quarterback coach, is calling the plays. So they're kind of working in tandem, those two.
I like this move putting the running backs coach there. He knows what Najee likes. Najee's been getting shut down, and the main reason I think this is because Matt Canada kept having him do those zone runs. That's not what he did at Alabama. And he's big. He's 240, 250, and he's used to just boom, right up the gut. And that's what he's got to do. Those
zone runs are for Jaylen Warren.
Exactly. He's a change of pace. Get Warren in there. I mean, Warren was the only shining part of that loss against the Browns. He was the only offense. You see that stat that CBS put up if you were watching the game. Jaylen Warren at a certain point had 112 yards. The rest of the team had 64.
And those third down and 4 plays where the running back comes out of the backfield and you throw it to him, Jaylen Warren needs to be the guy in there, not Najee when they're doing that. And they were still having Najee in there. He's like you said, he's 240 pounds. He's too slow for that.
Exactly. He needs to be used for running up the gut. Exactly how he was used at Alabama. Saban knows how to use his guys, and that's exactly we drafted him because we needed a running back.
He was that guy at Alabama that he would, by the end of the game, he was just wearing on the defense, and he would break it. He would get those long 30, 40-yard runs because he was just wearing down the other team. He's not wearing down the other team if he's running around the corner.
Yeah.
Or trying to run around the corner because he's not. The NFL is too fast for that for him. He could do that in college, but he can't do that in the pros. So yeah,
wasn't. I want to make sure. Was it Fichtner or was it Canada calling plays for Najee in his rookie year? I'm pretty sure it was Canada. Wasn't it?
Was Canada.
Yeah, and Najee didn't even have that bad of a season in his rookie year. So
that was his best season.
So what changed?
One, I think the offensive line got worse.
True. That is a key part.
And the predictability, a lot of it was the predictability of the play calling. Mm-hmm. They're stacking the box against Pittsburgh, daring them to run. So let's see if they get they're a little more unpredictable, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be nice to see those formations? I mean, I'm Kenny Pickett. Have Najee on this side, have Warren on that side. That could open up a lot of things. I mean, I'd love to see some creativity on that offensive coordinator.
We say it to each other all the time when we're watching these other games of how these different formations, how they have receivers running back all over the place, crisscrossing, all this stuff. And the Steelers don't do that. So that's why they're so predictable.
Exactly.
Because the team knows, okay, they're lined up like this, they're running this play, and boom. Those other teams are so unpredictable, they don't know what play they're running. And they have receivers coming wide open. How often do we have a receiver coming wide open?
Yeah.
Like once a game? And then Pickett misses it because he might hit it, he might not because it only happens once or twice a game.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of the blame's gone on Pickett. We saw he missed throws, but sometimes you got to give the guy a break on some plays. Like, I get when he has a clean pocket and just completely misses the throw. Be mad about that. But Myles Garrett was going against Dan Moore all game long. And Dan Moore was still in his stance when Myles Garrett was past him.
Yeah, and I don't think that's not on Canada. That's on Tomlin. Because Canada doesn't get to decide who plays.
Oh, no, yeah. Tomlin decides that. Canada was just a play caller and the play designer.
Yeah, so you got to get on Tomlin for that. Maybe we'll see some change there, too. You got to try something different. You got to get Broderick Jones, who's been playing lights out. The last 3 games since he started, he's lights out. He's all those runs. He's the guy getting the key block. He's pulling. He's doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Put him on the other side so he can protect Pickett. And maybe Pickett can get some throws off instead of running for his life the whole game.
And forget it. Stop with the Chooks benching. Get over it and put Chooks out there.
Yeah, put him back at right tackle where he was. Is he great? No, but he's decent. He's average.
He's better than Dan Moore.
He can pass block. And
Dan Moore has been bad. Like, it wasn't just today.
No, he's been bad all season.
This game.
And another thing I like with having Sullivan calling the plays, the quarterback coach, he knows what Pickett can do well. Mm-hmm. And maybe that'll make a difference. He'll call the right plays for Pickett, hopefully.
Honestly.
It's worth it. I mean, it can't be any worse than it was.
No.
And it's a breath of fresh air to this team. And let's see where it goes.
I think this is the perfect move Tomlin could have made. They're having struggles at quarterback. The running backs are having struggles at points. Why not have the running backs coach design the plays and then have Sullivan for pass plays decide, okay, Pickett can do this. I know what Pickett's comfortable with. Let's have him do that.
Right.
That's probably the perfect move that could have been made.
You got these two guys working together, and let's see what happens. I'm cautiously. Oh, geez, I can't even talk today. Cautiously optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
Very cautious.
Yeah.
But hey, they did what Tomlin finally did what he had to. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But he had to do it, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
As a fan, that's all you can ask for.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go back to college football for a second. Breaking news. ESPN has listed their rankings. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and Washington.
So Florida State's
out.
Right now, they're out.
For right now.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I thought it should have happened a couple weeks ago, but finally, yeah.
Took Travis to almost snap his leg for that to happen.
In the end, if they win out, Florida State, they'll get put back in because, the Michigan, Ohio State losers are going to be out. So,
yep.
But it's the right move for right now, for sure.
All right. We got that out of the way. Some other breaking news that came out of the NFL today. Shaq Leonard has been released by the Indianapolis Colts, a former All-Pro, Pro Bowl linebacker, caught.
Yeah, you told me about this. I was a little bit surprised, and I asked you. I'm like, geez, how is he playing good this year or what? And he's had a ton of injuries the last 2 years. So I haven't watched a lot of Colts games. I mean, who does? I mean, unless they're really good, I'm not paying attention to the Colts. But
yeah,
from what I could tell, he hasn't been getting a lot of playing time because, and what this is coming from the Colts, that he doesn't have the explosiveness that he has had before, and they're not seeing it from him. He's been getting limited playing time. So, but I don't know. I haven't watched him play, so somebody's going to pick him up, and maybe he just needs to get repetition to get back to where he was.
Yeah,
because he was fast. He's an all-pro, like you said. So maybe he's just still rehab, not fully 100% yet. So, and I know you talked about Pittsburgh picking him up because we need linebackers, but I don't think that's going to happen because
they need to consider it. I'm sorry, they need to.
They're not going. He still has a big contract, I think. And they just signed 2 linebackers.
Blake Martinez is in there now.
Blake Martinez and Miles Jack, but I mean, was either one of Blake Martinez was on a practice squad, but Miles Jack wasn't on anything.
Yeah.
Right? He was retired. So how good is he going to be? It's going to take him 3 or 4 weeks.
That's exactly why I'm saying consider signing Shaq Leonard.
Maybe they will. Maybe they do. Maybe they'll go out there. But there's talk of Dallas signing him because they just lost Van Der Esch.
That is true. His career's in jeopardy.
I could see there's money's no object to Dallas. I could see they'll make a move like that in a heartbeat. I mean, if they can. So we'll see, though. Maybe the Steelers will surprise us and pick them up.
Hopefully. Our next thing is from last night's Monday Night Football game. The Eagles and the Chiefs. Marquez Valdez-Scantling completely sold the game. Mahomes had a wide open, possibly a touchdown, and Valdez-Scantling, it bounced right out of his hands.
I just happened to, I had dozed off a little bit. I just happened to wake back up as the last 5 minutes, and I saw that play as it was happening. And I'm like, I saw Mahomes, and then I see Scantling. He's got like 3 steps on the D-back. I'm like, yep, here we go, Kansas City again. They're going to win again. And he dropped that. I can't believe he dropped that. It's like he dived, and he didn't have to dive. He just needed to run through the ball.
I don't understand how a man can't succeed with Aaron Rodgers or Mahomes as your quarterback.
He's so overrated. Why do they keep? I don't know why they got. Well, they didn't get rid of Schuster. He just went to New England. But
yeah,
I mean, I don't understand the love affair with Valdez-Scantling. To me, he's not very good. He can't catch the ball. Sure, he's kind of fast, but he doesn't catch the ball on a consistent basis.
No. He has those fair and share drops. And usually, if you notice, those drops come at very important moments, crucial moments. Yeah, you can't have that.
Quite often, yeah. And Mahomes, what can you say about that guy? He didn't have a great game. He threw an interception. But when it's time to win at the end, he put 3 balls right to his receivers, and all 3 of them were dropped. That one was dropped, and then when they got the ball back again, or maybe it was that same. No, it might have been that same drive. I don't know. I can't remember the time-wise, if it was the next drive or that one. But he threw a 3rd and 2 to Kelsey, and he dropped it. So they had to go on 4th down. And Kelsey then caught a 4th down play to move the sticks. And then it was another 4th down. It was their last chance. It's 4th and 25 because Mahomes had an intentional grounding. Did you see that play?
Mm-hmm.
It's 4th and 25, and that's all the Eagles have to do is stop a 4th and 25, and then they can just run out the clock.
Yeah.
So you're like, there's no chance here. Mahomes drops back and throws this rocket, and it goes right through Watson's hands. He comes back, and if he would have caught that, he was right at the marker. He probably gets the first down. There should have been no chance of that at all. But somehow Mahomes got that ball to that guy. And, I mean, it was a rocket, went through it, tough catch. And, I mean, it's a 50-50 catch whether he could catch it or not.
Yeah, sure.
Because he was coming back. He was running full speed back, and he had to jump up to make the catch. But there shouldn't have even been a chance of that. The fact that there was a chance on a 4th and 25 is just unreal to me.
Yeah.
That's a good defense. There shouldn't have been any chance for him to complete that at all.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Kelsey also didn't have his best game either. He fumbled, and that gave the Eagles opportunity, and they got a touchdown.
He fumbled. He had drops. Yeah. He had a crucial penalty, too, at one point, holding penalty. Yeah, maybe he's getting a little distracted. You think?
Mm-hmm. He could be. Yeah.
Don't want to get the Swifties mad at us, but
no.
He seems a little distracted. He was just in Argentina, and he has to fly back to play. No, I mean not to play, but to come back for practice for this game. Maybe he's spreading himself a little too thin. He's not young. He's 34. So,
No.
Just saying.
Just saying, but it could be a possibility. We're probably going to go over one more NFL thing, then we're going to have to go into plays of the week. When that one thing is going to be Zach Wilson demoted to the 3rd-string quarterback.
A lot of things happening this week that should have happened a long time ago, right?
I mean, 3rd-string, though, they're putting Simeon and Boyle over him.
What's that tell you? He's done. You would think he's done in New York, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and Rodgers came out and said on the, I don't know if it was the McAfee show or something, that he really felt like it was his fault or felt some guilt because the plan was, and fans knew this too, for Wilson to sit behind Rodgers and learn.
Yeah, I heard that today, and I'm like, this is his 3rd year. This is a second pick and overall pick in the draft 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's played all 3 years. What is sitting? How much more sitting? What's sitting going to do for this guy? I don't know. I don't think.
I just think he's done. I think he's not good.
He does not know how to play the position. He has talent. He's got a great arm, and he can move around. He's pretty mobile. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't understand the game. I don't think he does. He played at BYU against no competition at all. It was just I don't know why everybody was so in love with him to begin with. It was just weird. It's typical Jets, though.
The Jets fell for it, and that's what happened. They surrounded him with weapons too. You can't blame them on that. You got great weapons. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Lazard. You got tight ends like Conklin, Uzama, Jeremy Ruckert. Yeah, I was going to get that. Breece Hall. I mean, Dalvin Cook hasn't been playing good, but you have him too.
The only thing I'll say in his defense is the offensive line is bad. But
Wilson is on and off, to be honest. I mean,
he looks lost to me. He
does look lost. He didn't play that bad on Sunday night a couple weeks ago against Las Vegas.
You know, there's him and Pickett have been getting a lot of bad press because of their play the last couple weeks. And the one thing I'll say is that Kenny Pickett is a gamer. Whether you think he's got enough talent or not, I don't know. The jury's still out. But he is a gamer. He's going to do all he can to try to win the game. Mm-hmm. And I don't see that from Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's just like, oh, shucks. Didn't get that one. Oh, well. And he just has this look on his face like he's there, but he doesn't really want to be there almost. It's just weird. And he's just not NFL material, I'm afraid.
Did you see the clip of him slipping while he went onto the field?
He fell down backwards going onto the field. And if that isn't a sign that things just aren't, it's just not in the cards for him there. Yeah. It's just not.
That was great. That was not a good game at all, but that made my freaking night. Just watching him running back into the field. Whoa, looked like a cartoon.
It's just, it's like he does not want to be there. And he just, when you hear him interviewed, he does not sound like an NFL quarterback.
No.
He sounds like a kid that should still be in college. It just...
Like, you remember, I don't know if you remember, but last year when Wilson played horrifically bad against the Patriots, and the Patriots ended up getting that Marcus Jones punt return for the touchdown, they interviewed Wilson after the game. They were like, Zach, do you take any blame for this, how bad this offense played? And he was like, no, not at all, no.
Yeah, I mean,
and then when he plays pretty well against Kansas City and almost wins against them, he's in the press conference going, man, I really let my team down. And, like, he's so, like, bipolar almost with those interviews. And it's kind of, like, not good for your personality and, like, stuff. Your morale, I should say.
He's not. There's certain people who are made for NFL. Hey, I mean, you have to be one tough individual to play in the NFL, no matter what minded person, not just physically. Tough-minded.
You got to have that good mentality.
You have to be tough-minded to play in the NFL because it's the best of the best of the best.
I mean,
and I don't see that with him. He's got the arm talent. He's athletic, but he doesn't have the mindset for it. And that's why I just don't – hey, he's probably going to get cut by the Jets at some point in the offseason. Somebody will pick him up, just for a backup or a third stringer or whatever. Probably. And maybe 3 years from now you see him again and maybe he's matured and he can handle it. And maybe you see what everybody saw from him when they drafted him.
Out of BYU, yeah.
But as of right now, he just can't do it.
He needs a coach that can toughen him up.
Yeah, he needs to go to a veteran coach. Somebody like, I don't want to say Bill Belichick, but somebody like that.
I could low-key see that, not going to lie.
But then again, maybe he might not be able to handle that. I don't know, but he needs something. It's not working he's got to get out of New York. It's not going to work for him there. Just like it didn't work for Darnold there. It's not going to work for him there. He's got to go. they got to cut ties with him, and I'm sure they will at the end of the season. They gave him 3 years, and he couldn't do it. So that's, the Jets are done now, unfortunately. And they've got all these primetime games with the Jets, and it kind of ruins it.
Yeah. Rodgers getting hurt at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
Really derailed their season.
So that's it for them, unfortunately.
Well, Dad, it is time to move on to Plays of the Week. Coming in at number 1, Kenny Pickett, toss to Jaylen Warren. Warren running, still going, and he's got room down the sideline. Jaylen Warren, 4-6, touchdown Steelers.
Well, I put him right back in the game, made that. I thought that game was going to be over, and he gets them right back in it. What a run from Jaylen Warren. He's like the only Steeler that came to play that day. As you see here, what a great block by Broderick Jones, too, the rookie that we've been talking about. What a great play.
Made Greg Newsome miss. Our second play of the week, Dad, comes from Bills and Jets. Josh Allen looking, throwing. Shakir gets past Sauce, and there he goes. Makes Whitehead miss. Shakir still going. Makes Sauce miss. Touchdown, Bills, 81 yards.
What a play from Shakir. Josh Allen with the dime. Boy, he made that Jet defense look silly on that one.
Sauce Gardner, one of the best corners in the game, they say. Shakir got past him early, and look, Sauce Gardner couldn't quite get to the ball hawk it, and Shakir scores for 6. Coming from the Niners and Buccaneers. Brock Purdy looking, throwing. He's taking a deep shot. Wants Ayuk. He's got him. Perfectly placed. Touchdown Niners.
What's the DB doing on this play? He's like, he falls down. Wow, what's he looking at there?
Jamel Dean thought he had a chance at it. Purdy put it right on the money.
That was a bad read by the DB. He blew that one.
And Winfield didn't even try. What a play. 76 yards for 6. Coming from Texans in Arizona, Stroud rolling, looking, finds Dell down there. Touchdown, Texans!
What a play from the rookie to the rookie. What a connection that's becoming for the Texans.
Here's a handoff in the Carolina and Clemson game. Look at Hampton go, turning on the burners. Clemson giving chase. Doesn't look like they'll catch him. Oh, wait, Wiggins strips it out. And that is a fumble. It looks like a touchdown. Carolina thinks they have a touchdown. But when we get a replay, you'll see Wiggins punches it free right here.
Look at the speed from Wiggins just flying down there.
Nate Wiggins, the ultimate hustle play, saves a touchdown. Clemson gets the ball at the 20-yard line.
What a play.
Goes out of the end zone for a touchback. What a play by Nate Wiggins on Hampton. Dad, last play of Plays of the Week. Oh, LaMelo Ball makes Holiday fall to the deck and gets the layup to go. A little bit of razzle-dazzle in Charlotte.
What a play from the young superstar. Schools the wily veteran.
Well, Dad, end of our podcast for today. But as you know, and as the people know, we cannot go away without making our predictions. So, the predictions for this week is Rivalry Weekend. Ohio State, Michigan, and we'll throw in Oregon, Oregon State, because why not? And why not? We'll throw in Auburn, Alabama.
All right, I'll go with Auburn, Alabama. As much as I like Auburn, I got to go with Alabama pulling away at the end. Oregon, Oregon State. I'm going to go with Oregon State and the upset.
Ooh.
And overtime thriller.
Okay.
And then the game, I got Michigan by 3 points over the Buckeyes.
I don't like that. Anyways, we've got first in Auburn and Alabama. Here's my upset, Auburn.
Like to see it.
We'd love to see that. Honestly, I've been the king of upsets. I mean, if you guys remember near the beginning, we would predict Duke and Clemson. And I picked Duke, and that was the start of their hot streak. Anyways, next one, Oregon State and Oregon. This is tough. I'm going to say Ukulele gets it done. Another upset. Oregon State over Oregon.
2 upsets. Wow.
It's rivalry weekend. And then Ohio State wins against Michigan in the game. Finally gets their revenge from these past 2 years.
I don't see it, but
Yeah.
good luck to you.
Of course you don't. And good luck to you, too. Thank you all for watching this episode of PM Sport Talk. I am Preston, signing off with my father, Mike. Happy Thanksgiving to you all, and have a good weekend and week of Thanksgiving. Have some good food, and we will see you next episode.
Hey, if you like what you see, you can subscribe down below, and you can listen to our podcast at any time. And also, if you want to reach out to us, you can reach us at pmsporttalk@gmail.com. Also coming soon is a website. Thank you all for listening. Have a good one.